The conservative fixation on old America is not merely an innocent reverence for history. It is a calculated political strategy rooted in a desire to enforce rigid, outdated social hierarchies. At the core of this romanticized past is an insistence on traditional, patriarchal family dynamics, where women occupy a secondary role beneath male heads of households, while contemporary Republicans present themselves as fierce defenders of unyielding ethical institutions and timeless values. Their moral standard frequently shifts depending on political convenience. This selective morality is most evident when holding their own leadership accountable. Despite overwhelmingly identifying as pro-life Christians, mainstream conservative figures have remained largely silent following highly critical military events such as the tragic destruction of the elementary school in Iran, which resulted in the loss of over 150 children. This profound silence reveals that conservative values are often weaponized as rhetorical tools designed for population control, rather than active ethical mandates. Therefore, the modern electorate must view the party's moral authority with deep skepticism. This collective nostalgia relies heavily on a narrative of modern decline, claiming that contemporary society has drifted away from the foundational pillars of community, economic stability, and faith. However, this raises a critical question. Has humanity truly abandoned its foundational strengths, or has a more informed populace simply awakened to how elite classes utilize tradition to preserve institutional control? For the political right, the idealized mid-20th century represents a sanctuary of single-income nuclear families, cultural homogeneity, and unchecked global dominance. Yet modern society is actively evolving past the need for blind subservience to establishment elites. The public can no longer ignore the glaring double standard of leaders preaching localized morality while turning a blind eye to devastation abroad. One can easily anticipate the continuous international outrage and non-stop news coverage if a foreign adversary targeted on an American primary school. Yet when catastrophic civilian casualties occur under the banner of Western intervention, it is frequently minimized because the victims simply reside outside domestic borders. By framing political objectives as a restoration of a flawless American dream, conservatives successfully tap into a powerful emotional reservoir among traditionalist voters who feel left behind by rapid globalization and secularization. This historical reverence is reinforced by the judicial doctrine of originalism and the promotion of classical liberalism, advocating for minimal federal intervention and unbridled capitalism. Paradoxically, The same movement frequently attempts to utilize state power to legislate social behavior back to a bygone era. While these legislative rollbacks often fall short, the underlying policies of deregulation and free market capitalism continue to protect an economic system where a tiny minority hoards a disproportionate share of the nation's wealth and resources. Ultimately, the conservative adoration for a historic golden age relies on a sanitized memory that deliberately ignores the systemic inequalities and social injustices that marginalized groups faced in previous generations. The narrative of Old America does not offer a genuine unifying vision of historical resilience or shared prosperity. Instead, it serves as a potent tool to mobilize vulnerable voters against the complex realities of the 21st century, while obscuring a stark economic divide where the top 1% continues to insulate its wealth at the expense of the public.